Ahead tonight, an arrest is made in the drive-by shooting death of a young woman.
Also ahead, what a crime scene detective was questioned about during the fourth day of testimony in the Kofi Goodman trial today.
And warming up for the March to Equality. Janelle Noel Ferguson fills us in on what protesters are demanding from the government. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kish Latterly.
And I'm Candido Knowles. As always, it's good to have you joining us.
Topping the news tonight, a man has been arrested for questioning in connection with yesterday's double shooting, which left a young woman dead and a man fighting for his life in hospital. 22-year-old Morgan Wells died shortly after a drive-by shooting at Emmanuel's Way, St. Vincent Road yesterday.
Now, Assistant Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson says Wells, along with two males, were inside a black Honda Accord on Ponciana Avenue and Pinecrest Drive around 2:30 p.m. when two men, the occupants of a heavily tinted silver Honda Civic, fired a hail of bullets, critically wounding the driver and fatally wounding Wells, who was a passenger in the back seat. We're told the driver was able to make it to the police station in the vehicle.
The circumstances surrounding this incident, or the motive surrounding this incident, is unclear at the moment, but we are pretty satisfied with the details that we are working with so far. From all indications, it seems isolated. It's an isolated case. It's not. We don't think it's related to any gang.
Now, the Assistant Commissioner is appealing to members of the public who may have any information regarding this or any incident to contact them. Additionally, police are encouraging members of the public to contact them anonymously regarding people in possession of firearms. Meantime, ACP Ferguson says 35% of the murders so far this year have been closed. To date, there are 36 murders on record.
That's matters that we have already put before the court. There are quite a number of matters that we're just finalizing, just waiting to do some other things. And pretty soon you would see any number of persons being put before the court, which would really bring it up. There are persons who are still outstanding from previous murders this year, and you got the posters and some of them. The matter that took place on Blue Hill Road, we're still looking for the Scott chap. He's not being charged. He's somebody who we really want in custody, so we can charge him and put him before the court.
Now, if you have any information on the whereabouts of 30-year-old Jermaine Scott of number 2 Golden Gates, you're asked to contact police as soon as possible. Police want to question him in connection with the murder of Alejandro Bain, who was killed at a club on Blue Hill Road back on April 20th.
A group of disgruntled Bahamians turned activists plan to march to Parliament tomorrow. Proposed legislation allowing casinos to offer online gaming at their facilities for their foreign guests and work permit holders has mushroomed into a movement protesting what the group sees as other forms of inequity.
Popular radio talk show host Daryl Miller is leading the charge, revving up the group today for a show of solidarity he says could continue for the long haul.
This has absolutely nothing to do with gambling.
Radio talk show host Daryl Miller says, think again. He is joined by a number of local organizations that say the fight for justice and equality amongst Bahamians is what they will be marching for on Wednesday.
Dozens gathered at the old recreation grounds on Tuesday, where Miller hosted his daily talk show, collecting free t-shirts and Bahamian flags to participate in what is being dubbed as a March for Equality. It was first believed that the march was for those protesting the proposed gaming bill, and it was also rumored that web shop operators are expected to be a part of that march. However, Miller and others say the issues are much deeper than that.
This is about our opportunities to own a share of the economic pie. This is about housing, healthcare, education, job opportunity, economic ownership. This is about continuing the revolution.
I just want to be at least equal. I do not advocate gambling. I do not support gambling, but I support being equal. So either we stop gambling altogether or we allow everybody who walks through the Bahamas to gamble.
Jet ski operators who claim they are being treated unfairly on the Cable Beach Strip, along with former city market employees who have yet to receive payment, and other citizens who believe in the cause are also expected to be a part of Wednesday's march.
Now that Bahamas has taken over the property, there have been daily sending security officers down there to run us to the water edge. We've been trying to wake and talk with them for years, but it seems like they don't want to listen to us. We've been crying to the government for some assistance. The government has been for years promoting ownership. Now we are owners, and now they want to send us back into the days.
We don't want the option of jobs. We want the option of ownership, and jobs be provided to everyone else.
And to have strangers come into this country and have more rights than me is an insult to me and my family. So I believe in equality and justice for all.
We don't have some type of network of citizens standing for our own rights in the middle of all of this oppression, then we'll continue seeing the downward spiral of our society.
The march starts at 8:30 a.m. and will end downtown in Rawson Square. Miller says he does have one word of caution for participants.
Do not wear any political colors. Do not wear any yes or no t-shirt. Our armor is the t-shirt of independence as we celebrate 40 years.
Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Well, displaced city markets workers will be in the number tomorrow when the Equality March takes off. Spokesman Wanslaw Turnquest has urged former employees of the supermarket chain to not sit back silently. A year ago, the stores closed without workers receiving their severance payments. Workers rejected a $1.4 million settlement offer, arguing that they are owed in excess of $4 million. Now, Turnquest says the group is willing to accept no less than 80% of what is owed.
The $4.2 million was based on the 40-hour work week. We already established that at the Ministry of Labor, not the 2.8. But now at this junction, 1 year, the workers at City Market, they will accept 80%, which work out to basically the $2.8 million for their severance pay. They don't want a quarter. Okay, they don't want a half based on the 1.4 of the 2.8. They want the court injunction order for the 2.8 for their severance matter. We're demanding the lawyers from the vendors to release the monies they have in escrow immediately to the workers of Bahamas Supermarket Limited. That is their money, it is owed to them, and the laws of the labor laws of this country must be carried out.
Now, more than 350 workers were impacted by the company's closure, and considering many of them are still without work, Turnquest says he's instructed their attorneys to have accounts opened at the 5 major banks to assist those displaced workers going through hardship.
What we initially want to do is to set up an accounts in those banks for public donations and for the corporate community to help where they can. So those accounts will be opened up as those banks for persons to come in and make donations. Now we're going to ask the banks to draw from those accounts those persons' homes that are about to, those employees that are about to lose their homes, to secure their homes so they'll still have a shelter over their head.
Meantime, Citizens for Justice President Bishop Walter Hanschel made it perfectly clear during an interview with ZNS News this afternoon that he does not support any form of gambling or gaming in the Bahamas. Mr. Hanschel says the proposed march scheduled for tomorrow morning has nothing to do with gambling, but to take a stand against oppression, injustices, and discrimination against Bahamians.
For many years, I've been speaking to this issue, It is not a new issue. We've dealt with it over and over again, and we are asking the government of the Bahamas to look into these very urgent and serious matters. The people in the Bahamas are crying out for help. There's a lot of injustices that are happening right now. People are crying for jobs. They are hurting real bad.
Minister of Tourism Obi Wilchcombe says the draft bill circulated to casino operators and leaked to the press last week is just that, a draft, and isn't set in stone yet.
He told reporters outside Cabinet today that the bill is still being reviewed by the Cabinet and was meant mainly to improve the competitiveness of our casino industry. He says Bahamian participation in gaming is another debate.
It's never been a part of our discussion, frankly, because we've maintained the traditions that what we've had. We have not gone to that level. Of course, that's another debate. And as the Prime Minister said before, that might be a part of a referendum. The truth is, we have maintained based on what exists today. And we sought laws based on what exists today. If anything else is going to be introduced, that will be introduced after subsequent discussions.
Now, Mr. Wilchcombe also shared his views on the public's reaction to the bill. He summed it up as just a part of democracy.
Many Bahamians perhaps travel now and participate in gaming, so that's accepted. What we must always remember is that we have a tradition in our country. Some refer to it as discrimination. I suppose it can be considered that. But we did so having had great thought on how do you create the harmony between the church and building a country. We were a developing country, and so we took a social position. And at the time, I think the Founding Fathers were correct. We're evolving still, and even if the Bahamas were to move into that phase, we must ensure there's first and foremost an economy that can withstand it, education that must educate people even before you go there. So it's a process.
Minister of Investments Kalis Roll also commented on the new bill and said while he didn't help draft it, he believes investors are excited about it.
Well, I wasn't involved in the construction process to determine what their feelings are, but I might imagine that for them, it's a new source and new stream of revenue. So, if I was to take an educated guess, I would say that they are.
Now, Minister Roll added that the surge in crime is having an impact on investment, but can't be solved overnight. He says, however, it's a problem which must be addressed at its root if the country is to rebound economically.
When I was head of the chamber, I said that crime was taking a toll on the business community. The cost associated with crime was extremely high. Nothing has changed, and that's why we have to work extremely hard. And it's not just a policing problem. There's a major issue socially that's taking place in this country, and you can't have the results that we want without having a comprehensive strategy that addresses the root cause of crime. Crime isn't only a policing problem. We try sometimes to narrow it to policing. That's not the only issue.
In our first look at weather, lots of moisture heading our way, but outside of our studios just now, we have cloudy skies, temperature 79 degrees, your relative humidity 66%, winds out of the south-southeast at 8 knots, barometric pressure 1,015.3 millibars, it's 29.98 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned, temperatures around the family violence, travel, and boating forecast is still to come.
Well, still ahead tonight, pro boxing returns to Nassau. Coming up, the major action to expect in the ring.
And UTEB has a new president. The Bahamas Tonight continues right after this.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Shell Helix Ultra. Performance you can see.